Former Great Mills High School basketball great Alan Hoyt, now coaching College of Southern Maryland as the Hawks hosted Potomac State. CSM down by as many as 10 in the second half, but turnovers would change their fate. Sigourney Jackson's steal in the and one gave CSM the lead, 79-78. Later in the second half now, defense seals it. Jalen Scales picks pockets and dishes it to Jawan Cole, who was box office all night. CSM wins 91-87. They are now winners of 4 straight.
Well, we're a very young team. We only have 2 returners. Jawan Cole and Sigourney Jackson were returners from last year. So just integrating the new guys. High schoolers, defense is hard to come by in high school. And at least the technique. So that's something we're working on. And it'll just get better. It'll just keep getting better day by day.
Welcome to Southern Maryland Sports Journal. I'm your host, Travis Thomas. We're joined now by special guest, dear to my heart, great friend to the show, Dave Ross, Fox 5. Dave, I got to talk Redskins.
Let's bring it, Travis.
Point blank,
okay.
Do the Skins make the playoffs?
No, I don't think they do. I mean, look, we saw lightning strike last year when they rattled off 7 in a row to somehow miraculously make that run and win the NFC East. Travis, it's just hard to do that 2 years in a row. And I don't know what we've seen so far this year that would say to that fan base that the same thing is going to happen again. Robert Griffin III has been pounded, much worse than he was pounded last year when they ran the option a little bit to give him some options to get out of bounds and get down. This year, he's taking way too many shots in the pocket. I'd be surprised, 1, if he finishes the season on his feet, and 2, if they can even get back to 500.
Okay, what's the big difference? Because really it's the same personnel that rattled off those wins last season.
Yeah.
If anything, they're probably more healthy than they were last year, so what's the problem?
Yeah, they have actually been healthier. You're right about that. I think the offense is different, and they're still scoring points in bunches at times, but they've had terrible starts to most games. They've been outscored the majority of the first half every game so far this season, Travis, and I think their defense just isn't good enough right now to always be playing catch-up. So the offense puts the defense in a bad situation to start, and then the offense just can't do enough in the second half to come all the way back. It's a really bad recipe so far for a team, quite frankly, that's just bad.
Okay, Dave Ross, they're not making the playoffs. Someone has to be held accountable. Whose head's on the chopping block? Haslett, Shanahan, Griffin?
Okay. Well, all of the above minus Griffin.
Okay.
Because he's not going anywhere.
So no Kirk Cousins era yet.
No, I don't think we're going to see Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins, and I think he can play, Trav, but I don't think right now that Robert Griffin III will be going anywhere for any time in the near future. But I do think the coaching staff is in jeopardy. I do think Jim Haslett's in trouble. I do think Kyle and Mike are in trouble.
Wow.
If Mike goes, so does Kyle. I don't see any scenario where one comes back and the other does not.
Okay.
If this team struggles down the stretch, which I technically think they will, I can't imagine you bring back Mike Shanahan for the 5th year of a contract as a lame duck coach for 1 year. I think you either sign him to an extension or you have to cut bait. I think the latter is the more likely scenario.
Let's talk about the NFC East. If the Skins miss a playoff, who wins this horrible division?
I don't know. It's like playing Twister, and it's like you put your right arm down here, and you just hope you're standing at the end of the day, Trav. It's an awful division right now. When you have 2 teams at 5-5 leading the division, I can't say right here that the Eagles are going to get hot and rattle off 4 wins, or the Cowboys are going to get hot. All of these teams have major deficiencies. Ironically, the team playing the best football is the team that started off 0-6, the Giants. So if they can somehow stay in a roll, if they can win their division games, why can't the Giants, with what I think is the best quarterback in the division right now at Eli Manning, why can't they be the last team standing? If I had to put money on it right now, I might put it on the boys in blue up in New York.
Wow.
And they
were 0-6.
From 0-6 down to come all the way back, because I think their defense right now is playing the best out of any of the 4 teams in there. And I just don't think, quite frankly, that Robert Griffin III will be standing at the end. And the Cowboys are the Cowboys. They always figure out ways to lose games that they shouldn't lose. So why could you unequivocally say that they're the best team in the division? I just don't see it.
How's this for a transition? From one awful division to another. AFC Norris. Do the Ravens make the playoffs, Ross? Putting you on the spot.
No, I don't think so. Do you? I mean, Joe Flacco, they gave him $120 million and they couldn't sign anybody else.
Yeah.
So it's like somehow Joe Flacco can lead 22 other guys offensively and defensively to a playoff berth. I don't see it. I just think there's too many holes outside of that offense. Defensively, they look like they're lost at times. That unit has got to play better if they're going to be a playoff team, and I just don't see it. Ray Rice has receded. I think you've hit the point now where you're going to have to see more of Bernard Pierce because, Ray, there's a lot of tread on that tire now. We've seen this with running backs in the NFL. You go 3 years in, and all of a sudden, you don't look like the same guy you did as a rookie. So if they can't get Ray Rice playing at a level that he was playing at a year ago and 2 years ago, they've got a lot of holes.
Dave Ross, 8-8, could maybe win both of those divisions at this point.
Well, that tells you something about the NFL, doesn't it? You just have to get in, Trav, because as you know, if you get in, you have a chance.
Well, it's like the Giants a few years back. They barely got in, then they got hot and won the Super Bowl.
And that's why, again, look at the Giants. I think they could be the sleeper out there.
Dave Ross, Fox 5, Travis Thomas, Southern Maryland Sports Journal.